Welcome, everybody. I am Aisha with the Black Cowboy Coalition. And today I have with me an incredible family based out of Mississippi.
Hi, my name is Greg Hanford.
My name is Norman Hanford.
And I'm Nisa Hanford.
So, we are here today to talk about some challenges that you have had with your land. So, let's go ahead and get into that. Can you describe what has been happening with your family's land and why you believe your property rights have been violated?
Well, one of the biggest things that's been happening dealing with the taxes, the courthouse in Mississippi, the tax assessor, they refused to turn my land over into my name, my parents' land. They refused to allow me to pay my taxes. They refused to send my taxes every year. The taxes go to other people, other family members and non-family members that's paying the taxes, and they refuse to send it to me. Every time I call, they tell me where they've been paid. I just paid $1,000 2 years ago because the people in the tax office informed me that the taxes has been paid on 37 acres out of there. Come to find out, it was in a tax sale for 2 years, and I was going to lose it that next month. And a lawyer happened to look into it and brought it to my attention, and I had to pay $1,000. But the courthouse had told me, "Oh, all your taxes has been paid by this person, everything is clear," because they refused to send me the taxes and allow me to pay them. So therefore, they kept me in the dark on what was happening. So they tried to. That's one of the things that they trying to do dealing with the courthouse. The law firm that sits on the board for the courthouse also is the same law firm that did the will for my grandfather and did the probate for my father. He's also is the same attorney that has over the years in the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s has deeded our property to different people that's family and non-family members. None of them have no legal right. They was not named in the will. They was not named in a probate, but yet he still was doing a lot of illegal movement with the land in different people's names. I have all the documents to prove all the transactions and different things of that nature. So that's been our biggest challenge, not being able to get control. And the courthouse has been the biggest block
Tax assessor.
for us, to even get control.
Who originally purchased this land? How did this land come into your family?
My grandfather, Carl W. Wilson, in 1919, he bought his first piece of property. Then in 1924, he bought another tract of property. In between that, he had borrowed money from the Bank Land of Trust in Louisiana. Instead of them paying him back when the money that they owed him, they paid him back in plots of land. So my grandfather, over time, accumulated over 640 acres of land. At the present time, I'm only sitting on 200. So there's still 440 acres of land unaccounted for. But we believe it's other family members and maybe the attorney, we're not sure. Allegedly, the attorney is sitting on some of our property as well. So they've been moving the land in different people's names and just doing a lot of different things. But Carl Wilson, which is my grandfather, actually bought the land in 1919 and then 1924. It was willed to my father. My father probated the estate in 1974. In 1987, my father passed. So he died without a will. It's me and 4 siblings. So when he passed, all his property went to my mom and his kids, which is all of us. In turn, the following year, right.
Because there was no will, right? Okay.
Right. So the following year, what we did was all 5 siblings deeded all our interests and right to my mom. So it'd be one entity dealing with this, opposed to 6 different people trying to make a decision and catching up with people. We gave all our rights and everything to her. So in turn, she owned all the property. My mom passed in 2020, and she left a will giving it all to me. Now, in 2020, I also went to court before she had passed. I went back to Mississippi, went to court. The judge had reopened the estate to put, because all the property wasn't accounted for. So he let it run for another 6 months, closed it out. After that, I had 2 abstractors do title work on the property. Title came back vested in me. I got my deeds, but the courthouse refused to turn it over. A cousin of mine did a deed a year after my deed, and they put it in his name. So it
Okay.
ain't that they're not seeing my deeds, they just refuse, because the thing is, it started with a 41-acre tract. If they turn that over, they turn over the estate, and they know what the word estate means. That means everything that's connected to it. And in my opinion, they trying to avoid that estate being turned over, because a lot of people will lose out on money, where they live at. It's a lot of things. A lot of people down there they're going to take a hit. Family members and non-family members.
So when you say a lot of people will take a hit, are people on the land living there?
When I say non-family, I don't know these people, but I know they own the land, and I know my uncle allowed a lot of these people to live on the property. He's one of the people that was actually working with the attorney over the years that helped steal the land from my father. But it will be a lot of people that will lose their homestead and lose a lot of money, because they cutting hay on my land. They refuse to let us get those rights, and it's thousands of dollars in hay, because it's a higher quality of hay, and it's in different areas. It's more than one spot, so it's a lot of money there.
Timber.
The timber, they refuse to let me cut timber on my property, and they've been stealing timber off my property. It's just been a lot of different things where they just over the years has been blocking. I tried to borrow against my land 3 years ago, and the bank manager, he said, all your paperwork is in order, everything is okay. He said, I just got to go across the street to the courthouse. I just need to double check all the paperwork that you sent me. I said, no problem. He come back to me. He said, well, the ladies in the tax assessor office informed me that you are heir to this. It belongs to you, but you have to either wait for your grandfather to die, or you have to call him and have him to deed the property in your name. Now, remember, my grandfather died in 1967, but the ladies in the courthouse told him, oh, I either have to call him or wait for him to pass for the property to be moved over to my name. So these are the kind of blocks that I'm running into when I'm trying to do anything dealing with my property. I call the courthouse to ask about taxes or anything dealing with the property. They tell me I have to speak to their counsel. They can't give me no information. I said, this is a public place. It don't matter. You have to talk to our counsel. I said, who is your counsel? Their counsel is Royal Lee of the Lee and Lee Law Firm. This is the gentleman that did my father's will. And it's a Thomas D. Lee that just retired. I went after him, and all of a sudden he just retired. He did the probate, saying my father's the sole beneficiary under said will, giving everything to my father. So it's been a lot of trickery dealing with the courthouse and that law firm.
What are they? So they're the counsel that you have to go and speak to, the actual law firm? That's the counsel?
So I guess every courthouse, I don't know how this works. I guess every courthouse has counsel, have representation counsel. She informed me any information I want to know about the land, I have to speak with their counsel. I asked her who the counsel was, and that's how I found out it was that attorney. And I asked her, I said, why would I have to talk to the lawyer, your lawyer, about something that's public knowledge? All you have to do is just type in the information. You can tell me what's up with my taxes and things of that nature. But they said, we're not allowed to tell you anything. You have to speak with the counsel.
That's interesting. So there's policies in place around that explicitly names that law firm as the counsel?
Yes, because I called and I said, well, when I was talking to her, I made sure I found out who was their counsel. They said Lee and Lee Law Firm. I said, well, what? Because it was 3 of them. I said, well, which one sits on the board? They said Royal Lee, Royal Noble Lee, I think it is. That's the gentleman that did the will for my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
So he's aware of what's going on. That's why we said allegedly they might be sitting on some of our land as well. So it's a lot of people that's making sure that the land don't get turned over.
So what happens when you go and speak to the Lee and Lee Law Firm?
I've called him several times. He refused to recall me back. And that's what prompted me to go ahead and go after his license. So I went to the Bar Association and I filed against Thomas D. Lee in November of last year. They finally responded to my complaint in March, and their response was, if we did anything illegal, we are covered by statute of limitation. It's 3 years. So if we did anything of misconduct or illegal, is barred by the statute of limitation, which is 3 years. And the gentleman went on and retired.
They had 3 opportunities to respond, but they didn't. That was their response.
Well, what happened was the 3 times that they had to respond, they asked for a continuation the first time. The second 2 times, the Bar Association just extended them more time. And my thing was, you're a law firm. You could have told me this in November. The very first time when you saw all my documents, I sent a stack of paperwork breaking down everything they've done from 1969 all the way up to 2023, 24, somewhere in there. So I hit each decade and I had it bullet points. So it didn't take long. It took them, I don't know why it took them that long to get back, but that was their response to me. I contacted the Attorney General a few years back. I talked with a lady by the name of Miss Mangus, that she ended up being my investigator. This went on for 3 or 4 months, us going back and forth, me sending documents. She was like, you got a good case because this is illegal. They can't do this. So it got down to the wire. And she told me she had to have her own investigator go into the Scott County Courthouse to check out some documents. After that, I called her. She told me don't call her no more. She didn't give me a closeout. She didn't give me an explanation, but she refused to talk to me anymore. So this was from the Attorney General. Maybe a few months after that, I called the courthouse in trying to request some information. And the lady told me at the courthouse, she said, yeah, you had the Attorney General come down here and that didn't work. These are the people in the tax assessor office.
What county?
Scott County.
Scott County. Okay.
Yes. One of the things that prompted me to go to the Attorney General, because in dealing with AT&T, they claimed that my uncle had the title to the land at the time he sold the easement rights. The Attorney General, when they did their investigation, they said there's no document showing he ever had the title, which I already knew this, but I needed somebody else that could go look and stand behind me or stand with me on this. So it showed that AT&T never did a title search. They never did a proper research on the land. They just took my uncle's word and they, put poles on more than one tract of our property, But that was one of the reasons why Attorney General came involved.
So I want to back up a little bit so that people can understand the bigger picture of what's going on here. So you're saying that there are non-relatives that are on your land that are living on them, right? And then there
Yes.
are companies, entities that are taking natural resources from your land in addition to building on you. They're taking hay off your land, oil
Timber.
off your land, and then they're putting in their own poles. So AT&T has put in telephone poles on your land without any permission, any permits, or any communication between the family.
Without any contact with the true owners of the family. They spoke with family, but that family not have no legal right to make a deal with them, And I got documents showing the conflict in AT&T double talk, back talk their own self in the letters that they sent me. So I think a lot of people think you won't hold on to information or you won't inquire, but I have paperwork. Everything that I speak on, I have documents that came from either the courthouse, the law office, or AT&T proving everything that I'm saying.
The big issue is that there was an uncle who are other family members who have involved themselves on your land. They don't have any titles to the land. They don't have no deeds or anything associated with the land, but they have acted as the family and gave permission to other entities to utilize the land.
Correct. So in 1995, my uncle moved from Chicago and he moved to Mississippi. He was dating a young lady. He was dating this female named Lorraine White. Now, my mama name is Margaret Hanford. She married to my father, Joe Hanford. My uncle was dating this woman named Lorraine White. In 95, they went to Mississippi. All of a sudden, this lady's name is Margaret Hanford. And she's been putting her name on everything that belongs, that my mama name is supposed to go on. She's been doing, before she moved, it was a check came to my parents' house it had Margaret Hanford, but it had Margaret L., which was my uncle's, the lady he's talking to go to show it was trickery going on then, because that check wasn't even supposed to come to my parents' house, but whatever they did, they had to use my parents' address. and my mom's name. So after 95, the lady went from Lorraine White to Margaret Hanford. And she's been using that name all the way up until now. And she's been part of the blocking with the timber sales and the hay and different ways of us making money and just blocking. After my uncle died 3 years ago, she kind of was a bigger thorn than him.
Wow. So she's still living, but your uncle has passed away.
Right.
So what has happened when you've confronted her about this?
Well, I have not confronted her because I haven't seen her in years. When she's in Mississippi, I'm not in Mississippi, and vice versa. So I haven't had a chance to actually talk to the lady. But my brother, he have spoken with her, and well, I'm not gonna speak on that part because that's more so he say, she say. But I haven't seen her, but she know what's going on.
Do you know what assets she currently holds that are associated with your family?
Yeah, the 37 acres that I almost lost, a 41-acre tract of land, 25-acre tract of land, 20-acre tract of land, 50-acre tract of land, and
she holds currently, this land is under her name.
I'm gonna show you how it came about that way. In 2020, when I went in front of the judge, my mine closed out in 2021, and I didn't do my deed until 2023 because my mom had just passed, and I just didn't really care about too much of nothing after that because I was doing this for her. So it took me a minute to get my mind back right and get back into the fight with the land. Once I did my deed, Thomas D. Lee, the gentleman I went after his license, he did a deed for Jimmy and Jimmy's wife, which I told you, Margaret Hanford, her name Lorraine White, Margaret Hanford now. Thomas D. Lee did a deed for them, the exact same tract that I went to court for and put back through probate. The judge stamped for me. Lee and Lee did the same exact parcels and everything, description, and put it in their name. Now, he did it without the certificate of benefit of title. Anybody that know anything about that tells anybody that they did not go check the title. Because if a person does a deed, it's supposed to say prepared with the certificate of benefit of title. That means they did their due diligence, check the title clear, it goes to you. They paperwork clearly said it was done without the certificate of benefit of title, which means he didn't check the title because he already knew the land belonged to us. So you can't check the title and say it's hers if you know the land belonged to us. So they send the taxes to her. They got her name on the road, on the road map. So that's how her name got attached to it. And she's been using our mother name since 95. So yeah, it was an easy transaction for my uncle to manipulate with her using my mom's name.
And she's still using the mom name, how they flipped the land back. They flipped it when my mom passed. They flipped the land back more strongly in her name.
This woman, was she going to the courts acting as if she was your mother, or did they know that your mother truly passed away, or was she acting as if she was a descendant of your mom?
From my understanding, she was acting as my mom to be able to
control the land.
To control the land. She didn't act as a descendant. She acted more so as a replacement. Like she's the real Margaret Hanford now. So my mom passed, so she figured she could step in with her name and just do what she needs to do to control the land.
So did you ever go after her for fraud?
No,
or
I did
present
not.
her to the courts as a fraudulent individual?
No, I did not. The problem is I've been dealing with this for probably about 20 years. And in that,
Okay.
I have went through maybe 30 or 40 lawyers through Jackson, Meridian, Newton, Canton, Philadelphia. Me and my sister done sat and we got stacks of letters this thick that we done wrote to different attorneys. The attorneys said that you got a case, but when they found out about the Lee and Lee boys, they fell back because one of the Lee and Lee guys was a FBI agent, and he was set high back in the day. So they didn't want to go against him, So he sat on different boards back in the day. So that had a lot of play in it. And I kept getting so much rejection when it come to Mississippi and trying to get somebody to help that I never went that route with it.
Okay. What has been your experience navigating the courthouse and the legal system and trying to address these issues?
In me motioning to get the land straight, one of the counsels for Lee and Lee Law Firm, I can't say which gentleman said this, but in the hallway, they came to my lawyer and they told him, they said, we don't have no problem with them turning that track over to him, but we need him to take out this 3.4 acres. So when my lawyer brought it to me, I said, no, this is all part of the land. Why would I take that out? So when I looked at the part they was talking about, it was the part where the AT&T poles was at. So they was okay with letting me have control of the land if I take that section out, saying I don't own that part, so I can't go after AT&T. So I told my lawyer I refuse.
So when you talk about tracks, how are the tracks set up? Is it by certain acres? How does that look?
Yes, so you got sections. So I have a section 6, they got 55 acres. Across the road from it is a section 7. It had 76 and a half acres total. Down the road, it's another 30-acre tract. Maybe about 10 miles away, there's another almost 125 acres, more or less, so it's in tracts and in different sections. So when they paid my grandfather back, when they paid him back in plots of land, it was in different spots.
Oh, so it's not all together.
No, but the section 6 and the section 7, that was one block at one time. And in the 1950s, they paid my grandfather to make a highway through Highway 13. So they paid him to cut through his land to make a highway. So that separated 6 and 7 and put them across the road from each other at that point. But before that, it was one block. But the rest of the estate is in different sections because of the way they paid him back.
Okay, so now I understand how it's really challenging to see what's going on your land because it's broken up. So
Right.
how did you find out that they were drilling oil on your land?
Well, I'm gonna start here. It's a gentleman by the name of Leo Hanford. Allegedly, he's the gentleman that took the oil off our land. He got an oil company in Springfield, Massachusetts. The address from the land that he's sitting on, it came out of the same tract that I went to court on, has his address to his company connecting it. So in 1969, allegedly he hit oil from off one of the tracks on the land in Mississippi. We have had a real hard time tying him in because people for some reason, they refuse to give certain information up, especially when it's delicate information or they think somebody can get in trouble for it. And if you don't know where to look or who to ask, it's even harder to try to find out or prove something, So that's been our biggest challenge with the oil, but it's from a gentleman by the name of Leo Hanford. And he got, like I say, he got an oil company in Springfield, Massachusetts, and it's connected to the land in Mississippi. Now, we don't know if he's directly controlling it or if one of the another entity is controlling it because they took it from him and just let him use some of the resources and connect in Springfield, Massachusetts. Because we're talking about a guy 19 years old in Forest, Mississippi, hidden oil, and they don't take it from him. Because I do know, and this may not be relevant, Forest was formed in I want to say late 1800s by Ku Klux Klan members. So you gonna tell me this young guy at 19 hit oil and nobody says anything when they taking oil from people in 2026? And back then you're gonna let him get it. So we know it's other entities in this, just don't know who exactly.
So go back to this story and really walk the people through what happened when the tax assessors were sending notifications to your family, to another relative, and because you as the holder of the land didn't receive it, they put that on the auction block.
That particular action started back in late 80s after my father passed. My mom would try to pay the taxes, and I'm not the first one that they didn't want to send the taxes to. My mom was doing this, and they was refusing to send her taxes. My mom, we would actually take a trip down there, go in the courthouse, and she would let them know, send my taxes to this address. It was the ladies in the courthouse would say, well, it don't matter because they're gonna come in here and change it anyway, change it back. So you can tell us this, but they're gonna come in and change it. So wherever the last person to come in, that's what we're gonna send the taxes to. So over the years, my mom dealt with that, and when she passed, I ended up dealing with the same issues. So the biggest thing was getting these people to. It felt more so like they had a little net, a little clique, a little community, and everybody was protecting each other. So no matter what we did, they was gonna make sure that the taxes never came to us. And it was maybe 8 years ago when a gentleman had told me about tax sales, and he said the best way for a person to get your land from you, if you don't watch them, if you don't pay your taxes, or you think your taxes has been paid, it goes up for tax sale. It sits for 3 years. After that 3 years, in that 3 year time, it incurs interest. You have all rights to pay that interest back and get that land back to you. After that 3 years, it gets sold off into tax sale. Once it's sold off, it's gone. Ain't nothing nobody can do about it because it's set for 3 years. So those are some of the tricks that they was using to get us out of or try to get us out of some of our land. It might have worked on some other land that I'm not familiar with because, like I said, it's over 440 acres that I'm still trying to piece together. But for the tracts that I do know that I almost lost, it was a 37-acre tract, that was the tactic that they used, and they used one of the family members to do it. So this gentleman claimed to be he didn't claim to be an heir, but he claimed that the land belonged to him now. After I went to court and after I done my deed, they put a deed on top of my deed. They never acknowledged my deed. Now, the funny part about it, this same tract, I was talking to a young lady about a timber sale, and she informed me, she said, well, your name is right here on the road, the landmass. So somebody in the courthouse put my name on the landmass for the land that I own, but I never got taxes for it. That particular part, I didn't even know I had owned it into 2020, but it was in my name prior to that, and I was the owner on the landmass, but they never sent me my taxes. So that was a good way for them to get me out of that land because it show I own it, but you won't give me my taxes for me to pay it. So I was kind of in the dark on that into 2020. And when the judge stamped it and I had abstract to do title work on it, it brought back all them tracks. And I was like, okay, well, that was one of the tracks that my name was already on. But that same track, they done took my name off it and put somebody else's name on it.
The thing is, he has the title and he can't do nothing with the land.
Yeah, I had abstractors do work on it, and they both came back. 2 different abstract companies. They both came back, and my paperwork say title vested in Greg Hanford. I got the title. I own. They cleared the title, but yet the courthouse still say we're not turning it over in your name. And all the courthouse has to eliminate all of this. All the courthouse got to do is just turn the land over in my name, and everything goes away. But it's a lot of stuff going to be attached to it being switched over to me.
Why are they saying they can't turn the title over into your name?
They not giving no reason.
They not saying they can't. They saying they won't.
They won't.
They never said that they can't. They said they wouldn't.
They said that they wouldn't for what reason?
Well, they told me that one of the ladies in the tax assessor office told me, well, the land got to be probated first. I told the young lady, I said, ma'am, go down and walk next door or wherever you got to go, and you can go see that the land was probated in 1975 and closed out. See, these are the taxes that the courthouse used. And then once they realized that, she told me, well, we can't give you no more information. You have to speak to counsel. That's when the lawyer came involved. Because because every time we call down there, they said that they had a file dealing with the Hanfords in that estate. So it's like when they hear my name, everybody get quiet and they try to redirect my call. So to find somebody I can talk to brush me off.
So presently at this point, what are you hoping to achieve now? After you've gone through all this stuff, you work with the council, you've attempted to work with the council. One person has retired. And so What are you trying to achieve right now?
What I would like to uh, achieve is my main goal is exposure, because I know we are not the only family that's getting beat, whether it be in Mississippi or in a northern state or somewhere else around the world. You know, people do this to everybody all day, every day. So my biggest thing would be to expose the corruption. That would be my biggest thing. The second thing would be to get the land in my name so we can, as a family, enjoy the fruits of the labor from my grandfather. So that would be my biggest thing, bringing forth this attention to the world and showing, exposing the corruption in that town, and hopefully helping somebody else that's going through this.
Talking to your brother, I do remember him stating that you're running into legal challenges because you have to come up with all this money to pay these attorneys. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, over the years, once again, we've been fighting this for over 20 years, easily. We have spent tens of thousands of dollars and still haven't gotten anywhere. We have had lawyers take money from us, lawyers that sounded promising. My biggest thing would financially getting help, because we would have to hire a firm, not a lawyer. We need a firm, but from another state that don't have a dog in the fight, that can come to Mississippi and don't care about nobody down there but the truth and straighten it out. And that's expensive.
That would do the law. That would represent us and make sure everything is done by the law.
And we have learned that is very expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, so if these issues were properly addressed, what would be your vision for your land?
Well, one of the things is for all of the tracks is to clean it up. We wanted to put some affordable living down there for people, and just modernize and make it a 2026 version of and make it affordable for people to have a place to stay, and to actually just give back to the land and take care of it so it can give back to us, and we can pass it on to our family members and just keep it generations to come. And that's what my mom wanted. She wanted the land to come back and for us to just do right by it and do right by each other with it. So that'd be the main focus, is to clean the land up and focus on doing whatever we can in the community to give back, because community is part of the land, whether we believe we want it to be or not. So, we have to give back some, so we want to make it easier for other people, because we didn't have it hard. So why not try to make it easier for other people, for the family, everybody be able to live and take care of themselves and enjoy the land, because that's what the land was there for. When my grandfather passed it on, it was meant for his offspring to enjoy it.
Generation.
Supposed to be generational wealth, but
they cut it.
Yeah, they cut us off from the knees.
Yeah.
I tried to get a loan a few times because I wanted to build. I wanted to clean the land up on some of the tracks and turn it back into farmland, and then I wanted to clean it up and do townhouses. So I was going to beautify it and build it up. And then on another part, we was trying to turn back into farmland, and we wanted to grow our own vegetables and raise our own cattle and just do things of that nature. But these people have made it impossible to get a loan, to sell any timber off the land, to collect any royalties from the land. I mean, every which way I turn financially, there's a gatekeeper at that gate, and they ain't playing. They don't want me to get no control, no kind of way. And it has been financially, it has been it's been heavy.
Yeah.
It's been heavy.
You said your grandfather originally had over 600 acres of land. Can you break that number down again and help us understand what happened to the 400 plus acres that your grandfather wanted to own?
My uncle, and with the help of this law firm, have pieced this land out to different people. Different people are sitting on the property. Over the years, they have changed the name or put different names on the property, because initially starting off, we only knew about 41 acres. And over time, we learned that this is not 41 acres, this is 76 and a half acres. Then we learned across the road, that's 55 acres. Down the road, there's another 30 acres. This is all part of the estate that came out the will. When my father passed in 87, and my mom went down to Mississippi to close out his affairs, the lawyer told her, he said, ma'am, if you find anything else dealing with Carl Wilson, that's all yours. Because he said, there's other property out here. I just can't tell you where it's at. So at that point is when we knew my grandfather had more land. And then we had an attorney go to Mississippi on our behalf, and he found the 640 acres. But we don't know what happened to him, and he refused to tell us where the 640 acres was at. I'm not going to speculate on him, but, you know, that's how over time we found out the number got bigger and how much land it really was. Honestly, it's been many a times, many a days, I just want to throw my hands up because it's hard to fight a war inside the house and outside the house. Yes. It seemed like a war that you can't win, you know, and it's even harder when you're dealing with family and people know what's going on, but so they won't lose what they got. They ain't telling you nothing, you know. And the only reason why I haven't given up is because this is what my mom wanted for me to do. She wanted me to put this land back together as best as I could, you know, because she knew it was a challenge, you know. But if it wasn't for her, I probably would have stopped this fight a long time ago. But it is dealing with family member, and I mean, I got immediate family that's blocking on this land, as well as distant family and other people. And, you know, you look and it hurts because you be like, what people are due for $1, you know, or to try to say that they got some power because they control this or control that, knowing that it's not really theirs, you know. But if they tell themselves a lie long enough, it'll start sounding like the truth to them, you know. And it really cuts deep, you know, when your immediate family will backstab you for something that they know it's not theirs, you know, especially when they know if they told you the truth, you would be fair and still split with them or give them some. But they don't want it that way. They want to be the man and control it and run it. So it's been a real roller coaster ride emotionally for me dealing with this, because some days I'm way high in the sky. You know, I got people down here wanting to work on the land, wanting to do this. And then some days I'm in the valley because people done pulled the rug from up under me. The last, I leased my land out for $100, and I had an $8,000 deal on the table. And that same guy, XO Ernest, that was on my land, I'm assuming, allegedly, they have a sheriff that's in their pocket because my hunter was out there and they called the police. The police came, and so did the gaming warden. They looked at my paperwork because the hunter called them out, and then they called the police out. The gaming warden and the police looked at my paperwork and said, well, this is all this man land. Everything is legit. He's legal. You can go on and hunt. A man said, okay, I'm back to hunting. 2 days later, I get a phone call. It's the sheriff from Scott County Courthouse. And he called me on his private personal number. And he told me that he can't hunt on this land. I said, sir, this is my land. I'm trying to explain to him. He said, I don't want to hear that. He said, I'm going down to the courthouse and I'm gonna look for myself. So he went down there and saw the XO Ernest deed that was put on after mine. He disregarded my deed. He didn't even want to hear it. I tried to explain to him how it worked. He said, well, I don't want to hear it. I'm tired of dealing with this. If anybody come back on this land, I'm locking them up. And that's it. So yeah, these are the things that I've been dealing with, even on that note, with the local sheriff, you know. And in my heart, I believe that he's in their pocket, but I can't prove that. That's allegedly, you know, because 2 days prior to that, the police had already came out and said everything was okay. Why would another one need to come out, you know, to say something totally opposite? And they all looking at the same documents. There's a lot of things that needs to be done as far as finding that 640 acres of land. I mean, the other 440. It's people that know how to research this stuff, and but it costs. It costs, and it has been a struggle for me financially. So that would be one of the other things as well. If I could get help to help get this straight, it would mean a lot to me.
And is there anything else that you want to share with the public? Anything else you want us to know?
Well, if you own land in Mississippi, I feel sorry for you. One of the saddest things is I got documents from AT&T the president of operations, she had wrote to my brother back in 2010, and she stated that my uncle, Jimmy Hanford, held title to the land at the time of the Eastman sale and still hold title still hold title. These are her words, not mine. Now, the funny thing about that, the land was in my deity name. The title was never in my uncle's name. So it go to show you AT&T never did they never did a title search. They didn't do what they supposed to done to see who that land really belonged to. They took people's words, and I got another document because I was writing them back and forth. I have a document that they stated that they don't have no record found where Annie Mae Hanford, which is Jimmy's mother, is the daughter of Carl Wilson. But at the same time, these same people just said he held the title. And so if he hold the title, that's his mom. So it's just with AT&T, I got a lot of documents of them going back and forth and tricking themselves up. But the fact that the courthouse refused to let the title come over, the name change come over, that was AT&T legal way to wiggle out of compensating my mom. Because the courthouse refused to let the name come over. So they said, well, legally, it don't show in your name. Even though she was paying the taxes and the land went to her, that was one of the other things that that the courthouse screwed the family on, which was getting compensated by AT&T by them blocking on just letting the name change over. That's why I was saying, if the estate get turned over to my name, a lot of people gonna take an L, and they're gonna take a hit. A lot of people, whether it be financially or just their homestead, because over the years, a lot of people have done a lot of illegal things, and they trying to keep themselves safe.
Yeah, I just want to say the biggest thing too is that we're in 2026, and since 1975, because my grandfather died in 67, my grandmother died in 74, my dad probated in 75. Lee and Lee did the will in 1964. Here it is, all these years later, and Carl Wilson estate is still open. That itself doesn't make sense, because it shouldn't exist, because when it was probated, it went to Joe Hanford, which is my father. When he died, it went to my mama, Margaret Hanford. When she died, it went to my brother, Greg Hanford. And just to show the succession of that and everything fall in line, it shows you something's not right. So it's no way an estate should be open that long. And their definitions of sole beneficiary, which is in the probate, does not equate to what the dictionary says, or what we commonly understand. It goes to one person. Sole means one, not everybody. And so the biggest thing, like he said, is that's the big thing from 1964. Here it is, we're in 2026, and we still fighting something that my great-grandfather acquired in 1919 and 1924 that was given to Joe Hanford and passed to Margaret Hanford, now Greg Hanford. So the issue is we need to resolve this, and hopefully someone will hear this. And like he said, somebody else is going through this. It's just not us. And as a people, as Black people, we have been going through this for years. And so this will be something that we can hopefully resolve on that issue.
Thank you. This is how you all can contact the Hanford family. We have the email address, phone number, and GoFundMe linked right here. If you want to get in contact with them, this is the contact information. If you have any other questions, you can reach out to us directly at info@blackcowboyco.org. Is there anything else that you want to say in general to the public?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
But I just pray this fall on the right ears. That's what I would pray for, because all it takes is one person that knows somebody, that can just change the whole game for me, and straighten a lot of this stuff out in Mississippi, But my biggest thing is just really just exposing this corruption, because it don't make sense for something to go on this long. This is ridiculous, and nobody should have to fight that hard on something that belongs to them. I understand you got to fight hard to keep it, but good Lord, you got to get it first. So, just people willing to help with the being able to help get a counsel to represent investigators and just to expose the corruption down there.
And just real quick, I wanted to mention or really ask, do you think that you're having these challenges because of the natural resources that are on your land? You have they're able to hay
Exactly.
farm. That's
Exactly.
one minor thing, but you have oil, which is pretty significant for a Black family to hold. Do
Yes.
you think that that's a big part of the reason why you've been having so many challenges?
Now that I will speak from the heart. I don't think I know for sure. That's the biggest reason because, like I said earlier, uh, the estate being turned over in my name will expose a lot of people, and a lot of people will start taking losses because the financial gain they've been getting off our land now don't go to you. They homestead and the different uh, resources on the land that they've been using to enjoy their life over the years, yeah, it's going to affect a lot of people, So I would say, yes, that is the biggest reason why they refusing to let the estate be turned over.
Enjoying their life at your detriment.
Man, they've
You've been
been putting
having to
their kids
suffer.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and it's
unfortunate,
just like,
but you know, thinking positively, something will change. I'm really grateful to you, your sister, and your brother for speaking with us today and sharing your story. It will fall on the right ears, and hopefully, you will get that legal team that you're asking for. And so, we're all gonna, send positive energy, positive thoughts that everything will work out in your favor.
well,
So,
I want to thank you and your organization for the work you guys do.
Yes.
And thank you for listening. That's all I ever wanted was somebody to just listen to me. And I thank you for taking the time out and putting this out there for me on behalf of me and my family. We really appreciate it.